In recent decades, musical theatre production has diversified in order to accommodate a growing response from audiences for the way in which they experience staged entertainment. Its roots are in the institutional environments that society have come to associate musical theatre with, such as New York's Broadway and London's West End. However, theatre production companies have been developing alternative mediums that not only provide a different experience for prospective audiences, but performers alike. These mediums include fringe theatre, cruise ships, and other overseas placements. In order to sustain these alternative methods for musical theatre production, a number of organisations may work in collaboration with one another. Independently, a musical theatre production organisation can seek to employ performers that have trained within highly specialised professional fields to fill particular roles. Professional practitioners who have graduated from musical theatre, acting or dance colleges, for example, will have normally spent 3 or 4 intensive years learning their craft. This means that practitioners will display distinct disciplinary knowledge by product of the institution they received their training at, and interpretation of this knowledge will be unique to them as individuals. Initial research into an inquiry surrounding creative collaboration within musical theatre production validated disciplinary boundaries existing between professional performers and creatives such as directors and choreographers. Before agreeing to the performance contract that would coincide with my inquiry, I originally planned to compare disciplinary knowledge between musical theatre performers on this new engagement and previous experience. However, after reading through the contract, I noticed the job offered an opportunity to work alongside a number of organisations outside of my familiar community of practice. I felt that this could therefore give deeper discussion to the process for creative collaboration within musical theatre production. The organisations involved, TED AV, TUI, and Hotel Catalonia, were made up of respective roles including stage technicians, entertainment delivery managers, and general managers of the establishment hosting the production shows I took part in. Looking beyond practitioners within my own organisation, live business, and incorporating those representing others could prove more useful in evaluating whether the coming together of multiple and distinct disciplinary knowledges enhanced or hindered the ability to create transdisciplinary action. Transdisciplinary being the product of knowledge coming together to successfully create something new that could not exist without individual disciplinary input. I would have everyday access to these individual representatives and be able to continuously assess how their roles impact my own as a professional performer for the duration of the contract. Identifying with an ethical framework for initial research early in my inquiry process, I realised that participant activity could be characterised within the personal, professional, organisational and societal contexts. In relation to my own professional practice, these contexts share responsibilities in sustaining creative collaboration within musical theatre production. Further methodology from theorist Robert Cohen, 2010, also identified 3 modes for creating theatre that I believe have directly influenced the results of my inquiry data. The 3 models discussed by Cohen include the institutionalised theatre model, the single production model, and the regional theatre model. The most traditional form for producing theatre was with the institutional model. In today's society, however, this is arguably the least effective due to its reliance on economic stability when supporting a theatre company ensemble. It is now more common to find projects working under the single production and regional theatre model due to its flexibility. Though my inquiry findings were produced in a workplace environment employing the regional theatre model, I believe they can serve other professional performers who may be working within different models mentioned. I also recognise that whilst this inquiry was composed and analysed from the perspective of a performer with a target audience of other performers, I feel findings could provide a broader understanding for creative collaboration within musical theatre for other individuals, such as stage technicians and managers. Using both interview and observation data tools, my findings can be divided into 4 primary themes. I have created a simple stage-by-stage guide that explores these themes as well as suggesting strategies to prevent potential discourse that professional performers may experience. Stage 1. Developing personal respect between collaborators. As mentioned previously, a lot of theatre companies do not have the means to support a permanent ensemble of performers on year-round contracts like acting practitioner Konstantin Stanislavski's Moscow Art Theatre Company did until the late 1910s before it was disbanded. Because of this, performance contracts are often dealt with on smaller timescales, typically ranging anywhere between 3 months and 2 years. Rehearsals will be carried out in short but intense schedules. What this means for performers is that the workplace will not always be the best environment for building a collaborative relationship between cast and crew members, including technical stage staff and any other bodies who contribute to the project. For this reason, it can be important that collaborators spend time outside of rehearsal, getting to know one another personally. Organising social events and group activities will allow collaborators to learn personal and kinetic boundaries between one another that will later form a unique language for negotiating tasks, such as a critical incident in rehearsals. Stage 2. Freedom to express leadership amongst collaborators. Once a personal relationship has been established between collaborators, performers move to a new phase, that being the ability to openly negotiate ideas for musical theatre projects amongst other cast and crew members. Though formative job titles such as team leaders and dance captains exist within musical theatre companies, I found through observation and interview inquiry tools that those elected rarely assume complete creative control for projects. Arts-based practice is subjective after all, and so are performers' knowledge of the subject. Data analysis indicated that practitioners holding titles of authority were open to suggestions from other members of the theatre company, citing that sometimes the best idea will often come from someone else. Cohen, 2010, refers to this as leadership. The ability for performers, even if only an ensemble member with no formative managerial role, to display vision for the project in a manner otherwise not expressed by other collaborators within the theatre company. An ability for collaborators attempting these suggestions not only certifies trust, personal respect and an increased cast cohesion, but it also advocates a move from interdisciplinary knowledge into transdisciplinary. This is ultimately what the theatre company are aiming for with a production. Stage 3. Open communication between organisations. Individuals representing collaborative organisations outside of the performers can be harder to reach when needing to address potential issues affecting production shows. An example of this from my inquiry was the decision to relocate from an outside entertainment environment to an inside due to adverse weather conditions. Organisations can work different time patterns to one another, meaning a representative may not always be on hand for any queries that may need to be addressed. Interview data from participants revealed a shared thinking that representatives from all contributing collaborative organisations would benefit from a face-to-face meeting prior to the contract's engagement. This isn't to say that all theatre production companies do not take to this method, only that my inquiry data reflected production shows could have run a lot smoother had regular communication and transparency taken place between organisations. I have, however, found this to be a natural byproduct when working under the regional theatre model, with the specific example being given to a semi-permanent on-site management. An open communication between organisations can identify opportune time zones for negotiating issues. And finally, stage 4, mediation for the previous stages to maintain professional standards. The 3 stages discussed so far categorise strategies for creative collaboration within a personal, professional and organisational context. Though problems can originate within any of them, one context must be dealt with before the other by method of the stages proposed. A problem within a contributing organisation, for example, may be due to a personal or professional breakdown, and so addressing this can rectify any critical incidents. But what about when these contexts fail to identify where a critical incident may be originating from? This is what the final context provides in the form of the societal, or in the workplace environment of a performer, the theatre audience. Today, an audience can prove extremely effective in voicing opinions with the development of platforms such as online review websites that can be mediated by performers in assessing what can be improved to sustain quality in delivering musical theatre productions. Whether they are conscious of it themselves, a theatre audience's feedback for recognising where improvements can be implemented constitutes another representative in the creative collaborative process. This final strategy offers one other prospect in helping to produce transdisciplinary action. In order to effectively demonstrate creative collaboration and deliver a project, I found the themes that emerged from my inquiry crucial to sustaining successful musical theatre production. Although stages proposed seem simple enough, executing them could prove complicated due to practitioners working with other individuals who may share differing disciplinary knowledge between one another. I hope that identifying strategies for minimising critical incidents through means of this professional artefact will prove beneficial to performers when working within the musical theatre industry. This comes after my inquiry findings suggest an increased reliance on individual artist input when creatively collaborating, regardless of their job role, in order to sustain transdisciplinary action in musical theatre production.